Okay, so let's continue learning about variables and input now. One thing I realized that I wanted to do in this last video as well is show you, like it's very common to declare a variable and initialize it in one line. And let's get rid of the reassigning for now. Let's try doing it where we declare the variable, let first name, and then go first name as assigned colon. And what I want to do here is go console.log first name, and then we'll copy and paste that, Control C, Control V, and then print out first name again. So here we've declared it, and this is where I showed you it's just an empty container, right? It's got the name, first name, but it's empty. So this should print out undefined, and then we assign it a value, it should print out colon. So let's go back to here. Yeah, so the first line was undefined. That was this one right here. And then it prints out colon and then the big long sentence. Okay, so just showing you, yeah, when you declare it, it's undefined. You got to make sure you give it a value. But like I said, commonly we do that in one line. Okay, now what I'd like to do is instead of just typing in values here, I'd like to get values from the user. Right? I'd like to ask the user, hey, what's your first name? Now to do that, the first way we'll do it is by using this prompt function. So just like alert opened a pop-up window, the prompt will open up a pop-up window as well, but it'll have a space for the user to type in something. And then the prompt function will return whatever it types, or whatever the user types. And so this prompt here will get replaced with whatever the user types in, and then that'll get saved into the variable. Right? So the prompt returns the user's input, and then we store that into the variable, and then we can use it. Okay, so let's do that. Prompt, just like that. Okay, so it's a function, and we call the function with these parentheses, and then inside of the parentheses we can put in a message. And we can just ask, what is your first name? Question mark. And here we'll do the same thing. Prompt, what is your last name? Question mark. Okay, and then it should prompt the user. We'll type in something. It'll store it in first name, and then same thing for last name. It'll build the full name and then log this up to the console. Okay, so here we are. What is your first name? That's the first prompt. Now let's do something different here. Let's go. What just happened recently? I don't know how to spell his name. Kawhi. Right, the Raptors just won the NBA this year. This is going to date this video now. Kawhi Leonard. Hello, Kawhi Leonard. Your surname is Leonard and your first name is Kawhi. Cool. Okay, so that's input from the user. We then get that input stored in variables, and then we can use it. Okay. Now, I don't want to write all my programs with these pop-up and the console. I'd like to use my web page, right? So another way that we can do input is with input elements, right? So we're going to just do some really simple HTML in here, variables and input. Let's just make a new paragraph, and inside of that, we'll just go first name, and then have an input element of type text is wonderful, and I should give it the ID f name. Wonderful. IDs are allowed to use dashes in HTML, but variable names in JavaScript cannot use dashes. And I found from just the programs that I've seen, this is a common convention in HTML to use those dashes. Let's do another paragraph. Last name and input tab again. Give it the ID. You know what? I should be more descriptive. Be a good example. First name and last name. Doesn't hurt a few extra letters, and it means it's way more meaningful of an ID now. Okay, and then let's see what we can do here. So now what I should be able to do is, instead of this prompt, I can go document.get element by ID first dash name, and that will sort of say, document, please find the element with the ID first name. Here it is. And then we can go dot value. And it seems to always want to correct a node value. So just hit space to cancel that and then go back. So dot value. That just means, hey, I've selected this input element. Tell me what the value of that input element is, right? What is the user typed in? And I'm just going to copy and paste that into here and just change that to last name. And then all of the rest of the stuff should stay the same, right? I'm storing that value of those input elements into first name and last name, create the full name variable using the first name and last name variables, and print this stuff out. Maybe what we'll do as well is let's put have a little HR here and then another paragraph with the ID message. And what I can do is, you know what I'm tempted to do is let's do this. Let message be assigned. Right, I'm just going to build this string and store it in another variable, a new variable called message. And then we'll go document dot, and maybe this is misleading. Maybe I shouldn't use the same thing. Let's call this output. I'm going to output the message to here. So I'll go document dot get element by ID output dot inner HTML is assigned message. Okay. So it's kind of this idea where I'm getting the input, I'm going to take the input to put it all together into this string, this message I want to send out, and then I'm going to change the content of my web page to be assigned whatever that message is. Okay, so it'll show up on the page instead of in the console. Okay, so let's try that. I go back to here, and why is it still prompting me? Okay, probably still needed to. All right, let's refresh. Oh, interesting. Okay, I did this kind of on purpose because this is a common problem that you guys will have as well. Let's just zoom in here for a second. Okay, so when I run the page, it's going hello blank, your surname is, and your first name is. It's like, okay, I wanted to type in Colin Veldkamp. Okay, so it looks like my code ran. It printed out the message, but it ran before I had a chance to type anything in, right? So that's a common mistake, because when we go to our index, when we load this web page, it loads all of this HTML, and then it comes across the script tag, and it runs the code inside of here. So it's running all of this code right away when the page is first loaded. And the value, the document.getElement by ID, right, that input element is empty. So first name is a thing. We can actually type those variables. If it's a global variable, first name is the empty string. You can see that, right? There's nothing in there. Last name is the empty string. We haven't had a chance. So what we should do is we should give the user a chance to type something in, and we'll do that with an event. All right, so let's have another paragraph. Let's put a button inside of it called submit. We'll give it the ID submit btn. And now up here, the first thing we're going to do now is add an event listener. Right, so we'll go document.get element by ID. What did I call it? Submit button. Add event listener. Click event, and then we'll have a display message function, like so. So now we'll have our event function, right? This is just the name of a function. It should be a valid function. So I now need to define the function, display message, like so. And I'm going to take all of this code and put it inside of the function. Make sure, another mistake people often make is that they forget where this end bracket is, and that end bracket will be like up here, okay? And then this stuff is outside of the function and it won't work. We want to put all of this code inside of the function, right? This is my get the input. Hello, get the input. This is my, build a message, and here I output the message. Technically, I could just take, like, this variable isn't totally necessary. I could just take this big string and put it right here, but I think it's more structured and organized this way. And just thinking about the algorithm, right? Get some input, build a message, output that message. Kind of keeps it a little more structured. All right, let's save that now. And hopefully when I go here, refresh, good. It didn't print anything out. I try to type first name. First name is not defined. Why is it not defined? Because I haven't run this code yet, right? The function, the code inside this function has not run yet. So now I should have time. Let's get rid of that error message. Now I should have time to type in my name, hit submit. Hello, Colin Velkamp. Your surname is Velkamp and your first name is Colin. Sweet. Okay, so now it's a little more complicated than with the prompts, but it allows us to make a nice web page with these input boxes, allow the user to type stuff in, change the content of the website. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's check the notes just to make sure. Whoa, let's get rid of that zoom that I did. So we've got prompt, we've got those input elements. I didn't put the event in the notes here, right? I just figured you need an input element, and to get this, we need to select it and get its value. So that's the key, that value property. Paragraphs have inner HTML. Input elements don't have any inner HTML. They have a value. Okay. I think I will stop there. So I'll add this video lesson to here, and then for an assignment, you guys are going to make a Mad Lib. This should open up in a Google Doc. I think I typed it in. Yep. So basically, you're going to do similar idea, ask the user for a bunch of questions. A Mad Lib is kind of this funny story where you fill in the blanks, right? So ask them for a verb, a noun, an adjective, another verb, another noun. You'll get those values from the input elements and then build a big message like this. There are too many plus the variable plus another variable plus on this plus the variable, etc. Right? Build this message. You can do the sample one or find your own Mad Lib if you want. Make up your own or find a different one online. Yeah, and then when you click the button, it'll get the input elements, build the message, and output the results down below. Okay, have fun with that assignment. Hope it goes well. And that's it for variables and inputs. In the next video, we'll look at numerical inputs, and we'll do some calculations and stuff with numbers. Okay, that's it. Take care. Hope that made sense, and we'll see you in the next video.